Of all the games this generation, Street Fighter V has to be one of the best and one of the most disappointing games I've played. Its fighting is superb with some great mechanics and it's a huge improvement over the 4 series. But for as much as the game was fun, there just wasn't enough single player content to keep me coming back. Yes, Capcom did release a 2 to 3 hour story mode about 3 months after release and it was fun. But what fans really was craving for was a true arcade mode. So here we are, nearly 2 years after the game's original February 2016 release, and Capcom has finally updated Street Fighter V with an arcade mode, plus a few more little extras. But has the 2-year wait been worth it? Let's find out. Here's my review. Street Fighter V Arcade Edition is a re-release of the popular fighter, and while Capcom did state they weren't going to do any re-releases for 5, this one is acceptable. Arcade Edition includes, yes you've guessed it, an arcade mode and various other modes, fixes and stuff to make this the ultimate version of Street Fighter V. Those who bought the game 2 years ago need not moan about buying another copy of the game, as Capcom has rightfully decided to give all original Street Fighter V players this update and content for free, so there's no need to re-buy this game, so kudos to Capcom. The game's biggest mode is obviously the arcade mode, and surprisingly, there's much more to it than one single arcade mode. See, as this is the year of the 30th anniversary for the franchise, Capcom has decided to include 6 different arcade modes, one for each main game of the franchise. Each of the arcade modes do have restriction on which characters are playable, and some are shorter than others, but there is a clear showing that Capcom really did want to make amends for the balls up they did when the game was initially released all them years ago. The arcades are also really rather replayable, as there's different paths for each character to take, and depending on which path you take you will unlock different story artwork when you complete the arcade. With well over a couple of hundred pieces of art to collect, those who want to get them all will certainly get some mileage out of this mode. And it isn't just the many different arcade modes that have been added, there's also a fun little team battle mode that may not be nothing big, but is still fun to try and have a go now and then. Capcom has also included another mode called Extra Fights, which sees you wagering fight money to try and win against a hard computer-controlled AI. If you win against the opponent, then you'll be rewarded with a significant fight money boost, and in some cases some nice little extras, like a beautiful Joe costume. If you lose the match, however, the fight money you put down will be lost, so there's a huge risk-reward element to it that many expert players will like, but casual players may be put off by it by the challenge. But still, it's a fun new mode. The game also includes all the previous content released for Street Fighter V over the past 2 years, like the fun 2-3 hour story mode, the small 10-minute character stories for all the characters, the survivor mode which sees you fighting fighter after fighter with only 1 health bar, trials for each fighter, and the practice mode. So now there is a wealth of content to play that should keep all single players happy for a long while. And it isn't just new modes that have been added. The game's UI has seen a nice little spruce up as well, which is a nice improvement over the original. There's also loading time improvements, and the matchmaking for online players feels quicker. There's also a few new tweaks and quality and life improvements to the gameplay as well, but the biggest addition to the gameplay has to be the inclusion of new V-triggers for all characters. Adding a new V-trigger for each character does allow for more experimenting with the characters, and it does breathe new life into the fights for returning players. As for the DLC, the game still features plenty of stuff for you to buy, like characters, stages and costumes. And if you did buy the Arcade Edition copy of the game, you get all the Season 1 and 2 characters for free, which is a cool incentive for new players to buy, but a bit of a slap in the face for folks who've already got the game, as you've still got to buy them with either fight money or cash. It is a shame that Capcom didn't give players who stuck with this game since launch the characters for free, as it does feel a bit cheeky. Capcom has reduced the Season 1 and 2 character passes, but the characters still cost 100,000 fight money, which does take quite a while to amass, so hopefully they'll drop them down in price a bit. As for fight money, Street Fighter V's infamous in-game currency, I still think the game is very stingy with how it pays out. You earn very little for playing on your own, heck you don't even earn fight money for playing arcade mode, which is a shame. And unless you brave the harsh online fights, then you won't get a lot of fight money out of it. It does feel like Capcom does want to push you towards buying stuff with real world money, as some of these DLCs is priced too highly. Here's hoping they give out fight money more generously and drop the price of some of that DLC. When the game first came out, the netcode was pretty poor with constant drops and huge waiting times for matches, and for the past 2 years Capcom has been working hard to fix it, and now the game does feel much more adequate whilst playing online. You get into a match fairly quickly now, and with cross-play between PS4 and PC, there should be plenty of players itching for a fight. Of the matches I've played, most of them seem to run fine with only a small instant of input lag, but I did still encounter some awful matches with terrible lag. Thankfully, you can tune your search for players with only the best connection, so you can avoid it. Conclusion time now, and Street Fighter V finally feels like the game it should have been when the game was released 2 years ago. There's now plenty for single players to get stuck into, as the new arcade modes are fun and do add quite a fair bit of replayability for single players. Its online is still strong, and while I'm not keen on the way the fight money system works, it's just a small niggle than anything else. With new features, new modes and plenty of content to play, Street Fighter V is finally complete, and whilst it may have taken its sweet old time, there's no better time to pick up this game. Street Fighter V Arcade Edition gets a 9 out of 10 with the title of brilliant. As always, thank you for watching my review, like, rate and subscribe, and until next time, happy gaming, bye!